How's it going, everybody? So we're back today talking some Splinter Cell Deathwatch. Anybody that's been a long-time fan of the Splinter Cell franchise is well aware of the fact that it's been slim pickings for quite a long time. Ubisoft clearly does not care anymore about this franchise. Occasionally you'll see Sam Fisher pop up in something, but there hasn't been a new game in the franchise since 2013. Basically what I'm getting at here is we're starving for something new in the Splinter Cell franchise, so I was hoping that this animated series coming to Netflix would scratch that itch for more Sam Fisher. Something this series, I will say, does effectively is a handful of episodes do a pretty nice job emulating the stuff we liked about the Splinter Cell franchise as far as the stealth and the action within the animation style they use here. Many of the major highlights actually are the espionage sequences where Sam, despite, he is a bit older and rusty because he hasn't been in the field for a long period of time, that doesn't stop him from sneaking around and knocking out bad guys or having some thrilling hand-to-hand fights along the way. It isn't to say that McKenna doesn't get in on the action as well. The big opening of the first episode where she goes full Splinter Cell probably is one of the best fights of the entire show. Even if I am kind of mixed on McKenna overall as a character, which I'm going to get into a little bit later. There's a couple of moments where McKenna and Sam work together later on in the season across their mission together that genuinely are pretty fun. Let's be real, Michael Ironside is very difficult to replace in voicing Sam Fisher. They did try to do that when they recast the role back when Blacklist came out for, there were other reasons behind that, of course. Regardless, it just didn't really work in my opinion, and I do think that Lee Shriver is doing a solid enough job channeling a little bit of Ironside to this portrayal of Sam, especially based around where Sam is as a character at this stage of life. I do think they should have just got Michael Ironside, though, if I'm being honest. Admittedly, the basis luring Sam out of retirement, going back into the field to rescue another Splinter Cell, inevitably having a sort of mentor-apprentice relationship. This style of archetype we have seen done to death in various different media, but in the context of the story that Deathwatch is trying to tell with this grizzled Sam, I do for the most part still like Sam Fisher in this. A lot of people were hesitant heading into this that McKenna was going to steal the spotlight from Sam Fisher. So many people online were equating it to the more recent Devil May Cry anime with Lady and Dante, which, to be fair, I do think there is some valid criticism to how they portrayed Lady and the Dante dynamic in that show. In the case of Deathwatch, I don't really think that's the case, even if part of the story is them working together in a group, decrypting this info and battling Shetland's children. Sam Fisher very much is in the forefront of the story. For example, there's one point where he makes McKenna stay behind so he can do the mission effectively while she's injured, and then there's multiple times in the season where he has to go out of his way to save her from certain death. Now, there's still going to be people that believe that McKenna is taking the spotlight away from Sam, but in my opinion, I just don't think that's the case. Relating to the action and espionage, though, when it comes to McKenna, I do think that is the most entertaining aspect to her character. I like the concept centered around bringing in a new agent into the franchise and connecting with Sam, as she does share some similar qualities that we saw Sam in some of the earlier iterations of the game. What it really boils down to, though, is the writing. I wish she was just a little bit more compelling overall. Part of it absolutely could be due to the short runtime, but you only get a small peek behind the curtain with no attempts to dig under the surface to really get invested in her and understand her emotional state and this relationship that we learn about that she had with another agent that ultimately fuels her rage across the entire mission. Outside of the few hype moments here and there, I just think the character overall is pretty hollow. That also can be applied to the overall story in general. Though I'll give them credit, the story is fast moving, the essential ingredients being on the run with important intel, Sam and McKenna opening up more the longer they work together, even the various flashbacks to Sam's past with Shetland sprinkled throughout. The deeper we go into the season, it becomes harder and harder to continue to stay invested in the story, and that's coming from someone that is a fan of the Splinter Cell franchise. I'm very nervous for anyone that's going into this not having a lot of prior knowledge to Splinter Cell. Arguably the worst portions of the show is anytime they cut to Shetland's daughter Diana taking over the company and the preaching about climate change. And that includes the half-brother they shoehorn in here and there. He's also just very obnoxious. I get the desire to bring the Shetlands into the fold for Sam's story overall, but a lot of their scenes did make me want to fast forward. Speaking of that, I know this is marketed as an 8-episode TV show on Netflix, but it feels like so obvious to me that at one point this was a Splinter Cell movie, and I think it would have just been more beneficial if they had just not chopped it up into 8 parts for a show. They chop it up weirdly, I may add. Episodes barely hit the 25-minute mark. Majority of them, they just don't have natural endings. I kid you not, some some episodes throw up the credits so abruptly, almost in the middle of scenes. We've seen this a lot with some of the Marvel Disney Plus shows that are like 6 episodes, 8 episodes long, that are very obviously a movie chopped up. They don't understand the streaming structure, and this is another example of that. Splinter Cell Deathwatch is the definition of a mixed bag, which is a shame considering I want more of the franchise. I love Sam Fisher as a character, but we've been getting so little of him for the last decade and a half or so. With a stronger action espionage story at the core and longer runtimes, I think this could be a far better show since Sam Fisher is an awesome character. But much like the majority of things Sam Fisher has been in for the last decade and a half, everything surrounding him I don't think is that strong. Once you get a chance to check out the series though, it's on Netflix now. Make sure you share your thoughts down below. What'd you think of the series? Did you like the show? Did you not like the show? Thank you guys. As always, checking out videos, I always do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so you update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.